Paul Atreides, now emperor, rules a vast empire after defeating the Harkonnens and Corrino dynasty. Billions chant his name, worshipping him as the Kwisatz Haderach. Yet Paul feels the heavy burden of power pressing down on him. His visions show rivers of blood and endless jihad in his name. Even victory feels like defeat. The Freemen, once desert warriors, now dominate the galaxy as Paul's soldiers. Their zeal makes them unstoppable, but their fanaticism terrifies Paul. He sees them burning planets and enslaving people under his banner. Chani questions whether Paul has lost the man he once was. The dream of freedom has turned into holy conquest. In the shadows, a plot brews against Paul. The Bene Gesserit, the Spacing Guild, and the remnants of House Corrino join forces. They fear Paul's empire and his prescient visions. They design a trap involving politics, prophecy, and betrayal. Paul senses danger, but cannot stop it. A face dancer named Skittily arrives on Arrakis, disguised as an ally. He is a shape-shifting assassin of the Bene Tleilax. Skittily's mission: infiltrate the Emperor's circle and find Paul's weakness. The conspirators believe Paul's humanity can be undone. They aim not to kill him outright, but to break him. Chani struggles with infertility caused by Bene Gesserit interference. She longs for children, while Paul feels the pressure of producing heirs. Irulan, Paul's political wife, secretly administers contraceptives under orders. Chani grows suspicious of Irulan's role in her inability to conceive. Tension brews in Paul's household as love and politics clash. Input Paul's visions overwhelm him. Thousands of possible futures flood his mind. He sees plots, betrayals, and his own death in many paths. But every choice seems to lead to bloodshed. He fears that he cannot escape destiny. His prescience becomes both weapon and curse. On Arrakis, pilgrims flock to Paul, treating him as a god. But others whisper that he's a tyrant cloaked in prophecy. Some freemen, like Stilgar, begin to doubt the Emperor's path. Paul's own people ask, is he savior or destroyer? Faith begins to fracture under the weight of empire. Paul sees visions of himself walking blind, led by fate. The image haunts him, a symbol of inevitable suffering. He wonders if he is truly in control or just a pawn of destiny. Chani comforts him, urging him to live in the present. But the shadows of prophecy never leave his mind. Paul glimpses the golden path, a terrible future necessary for humanity's survival. It means sacrificing his humanity to ensure the species never dies. The choice horrifies him: embrace tyranny or doom humanity. He hesitates, knowing that inaction could be worse than cruelty. The path of destiny grows darker with every step. Irulan reports secretly to the Bene Gesserit. Her mission: ensure Paul has no true heirs. But despite her cold loyalty, she grows jealous of Chani. She envies Chani's bond with Paul, her role as his true love. Irulan begins to waver between duty and desire. The conspirators put their plan into motion. They lure Paul into political crises across the galaxy. Whispers of rebellion spread, carefully seeded by Skittily. Assassins test the Emperor's defenses, probing for weaknesses. The stage is set for betrayal from within. Chani finally becomes pregnant, despite Irulan's sabotage. Paul sees in visions that their children will be powerful, too powerful. The twins, Leto and Ganima, are destined to shape humanity's fate. But prophecy shows both triumph and tragedy in their future. Paul fears what his children may become. Some freemen worship Paul blindly. Others resent how imperial politics have tainted their traditions. They see Paul as betraying the desert spirit of Arrakis. Stilgar struggles to hold the tribes together. Civil war simmers beneath the surface. The Tleilaxu offer Paul a Gola of Duncan, Idaho, his loyal friend. Resurrected through genetic engineering, Duncan is alive again, but altered. He is meant to be a tool of betrayal against Paul. But Duncan's loyalty to his emperor is strong. Paul faces a heartbreaking choice: trust Duncan or suspect him. Chani dies during childbirth, giving her life for the twins. Paul is shattered by grief, holding her lifeless body in despair. Her death fulfills one of his darkest visions. Irulan looks on, guilt-ridden yet triumphant in her mission. The conspirators believe Paul is finally broken. Blinded by grief, Paul stumbles into the conspirators' trap. Skittily manipulates events to lure him into vulnerability. An explosion takes Paul's sight, leaving him blind. Yet Paul sees through prescience, walking the path of vision. His enemies believe him crippled, but he grows even more dangerous. Paul follows the Freeman custom for the blind, walking into the desert to die. But unlike others, he walks guided by visions, not sight. Each step is a march into destiny, echoing across the empire. The Freemen mourn their Messiah, even as rebellions rise. Paul disappears, becoming legend. Paul follows the Freeman custom for the blind, walking into the desert to die. But unlike others, he walks guided by visions, not sight. Each step is a march into destiny, echoing across the empire. The Freemen mourn their Messiah, even as rebellions rise. Paul disappears, becoming legend. Alia, born pre-born with ancestral memories, struggles with inner demons. She must act as regent for the twins, but doubts her strength. The Bene Gesserit and Spacing Guild watch her closely. The shadow of Baron Harkonnen inside her mind grows louder. The seeds of corruption are sown. Paul Atreides is gone, but his legend burns brighter than ever. Billions still chant his name, not knowing if he lives or died. His empire stands on the edge of collapse and rebirth. The twins' fate promises a new chapter for humanity. The prophecy of the Kwisatz Haderach is far from over.